town nearly a week away, to which he would alternate a day of travel by horse and a day by foot. He was walking in the rain when he was struck by lightning through his head on a mountain path. He slipped and fell on his machete, severely injuring his arms. He has since been disfigured from the accident and has a scar in his head where he was struck by lightning. This occurrence was not merely an accident. This was seen by the Kallawaya community as a designation of some mystic power to choose Pedro as a unique and special healer. Today, Don Pedro is one of the most revered ritualistic healers and is best known for his coca reading expertise. This gives some insight into the holistic approach of Kallawaya healing, which focuses on keeping all realms, even the supernatural, in balance. In Curva, Don Pedro will sometimes lead a ritual involving the sacrifice of an entire llama. To prevent more than necessary llama sacrifices, he will share the ceremony with other towns, usually sending the head to Chetasani and the tail to Chari. Felipe Chalapa, a 63-year-old Kallawaya, is the current General Secretary of Curva, and also is more knowledgeable in ritualistic practice, learning to speak some of the secret Kallawaya language from his mentor Mariano Mendoza. As General Secretary, a position elected every July 15th, with the new successor beginning their term on January 1st, Don Felipe has the responsibility of upholding cultural customs, and he manages several projects to do so. His father and grandfather were Kallawaya doctors. Although his two children are more focused on high school study, he is teaching others healing rituals, explaining each part and its significance. He says that some young people are interested in learning Kallawaya knowledge, but many are going from Curva to the city for school and work. He takes his position as General Secretary as if he were father of the town. Don Felipe says that the biggest problem he has had to deal with in the last generation is the migration from Curva to Potosí, La Paz, Santa Cruz, Argentina, Peru, and Spain to find salaried employment. He also works on agricultural projects in the Yungas. To carry out these rituals, he uses a white altar with plants, money, and sometimes he even cuts a live rabbit to read its heart. He says that there are 3 designated altars left from many generations, one in the center of town belonging to Don Mariano, and 2 others on surrounding mountain peaks belonging to 2 different women healers. Don Felipe also plays at least 7 different instruments for his rituals. Despite all his abilities, it is his musical skill that gave him the opportunity very few in Curva's history have ever had, to get a passport and travel to the United States. He was recruited several years ago to travel to Washington, D.C. to participate in the opening of an exhibit at the Smithsonian National Museum of American Indians. He fondly remembers his trip to the U.S. Capitol, and he says that he hopes to work in collaboration with some Mayan musicians to travel to an invitation to play in Russia, although financial reasons will probably prevent him from showcasing his ability. In 1982, SEMTA, a foundation established to promote the needs of the Kallawayas, was founded, funded by UNESCO of Paris. Together with the Spanish Cooperation Project, a hospital was built in Curva to attend to the medical needs of the surrounding towns of Bautista Saavedra. Miguel Tejerina is co-director of the Curva Hospital, responsible for the administrative aspects of the institution. He is also the current president of AMCOC, an affiliation made up of 87 Kallawaya doctors from Curva. Don Miguel guided us through the Curva Hospital, a well-kept but usually poorly equipped building. Although either Don Miguel or Don Maximo attends to patients in the Kallawaya consult, there hasn't been a Western doctor here in almost 2 years. Originally, the hospital was built in Curva as a joint effort between the Spanish-Bolivian Cooperation Project and the Regional Kallawaya Association to provide a medical environment that could address patients with both Western biomedical treatments and traditional Kallawaya healing practices. Ruth is only 1.5 years out of nursing school, but is the only attending caregiver who can properly administer Western medicines such as penicillin or vaccinations. Still, the hospital is impressive for such a rural location, and the walls are lined with posters containing health information in both Spanish and Quechua. The Curva Hospital is well known to all Kallawayas because it is a unique establishment that offers incoming patients various medical options. But Don Miguel made it clear that much more help is needed to get the hospital to reach its full potential. He explains that like many projects in the area, after the initial investment was made to build the hospital, there has been a huge lack in administrative funding so that employing a salaried doctor year-round is impossible. Thus, running the entire hospital, which sees up to 100 patients a month, is left only to one newly trained nurse and 2 Kallawaya doctors. Also, accessibility to the hospital is a major issue in the rural mountainous area. Roads between Curva and several neighboring towns are only passable on foot. Even though the hospital has an ambulance, only a few Apolobamba park rangers can drive it, and they are not always in Curva to attend to any possible medical emergencies. According to the hospital's records, 71 patients were seen for the month of July 2008, 30 female and 41 male. Of these patients, 3 were under 1 year old, 35 were 1 to 4 years old, 1 was 5 to 9 years old, 4 were 10 to 20 years old, 23 were 21 to 59 years old, and 7 were 60 years old or older. Only halfway into August 2008, 42 people had already been seen in the hospital. Treatments administered included vitamin supplements in various forms, antibiotics, antiparasitics, and flu medicine, among others. After a tour of the patient and administrative rooms of the hospital, Don Miguel and Don Maximo brought us to view the adjacent laboratory and botanical garden. The laboratory, which cost about 30 to 35 million bolivianos, around 45 million US dollars, is equipped with drying and grinding stations in order to process the medicinal plants being grown in the hospital's garden. For the rest of the day, Maximo Paye, the other co-director of the hospital responsible for the operation of the laboratory and garden, gave us a full plant lesson on the dozens of plants being grown at the Curva hospital. Don Maximo is also the treasurer of AMCOC and has been a major leader in the Curva community for more than 20 years. During the lesson, Don Maximo spoke to the effectiveness of natural herbal treatment and that a holistic approach to healing mind, body, and spirit, unlike the biochemical approach of Western medicine, is a much more preventive and successful method of treating any type of illness. He went on to say that a complete restoration of health is always a Kallawaya doctor's goal, and that if one treatment does not work, the patient's condition will be reevaluated and a new treatment will be developed. The plants Don Maximo showed us in the botanical garden can be used to treat a range of ailments.
Para preparar como fornegar, ¿no? Sí, puede servir también.
Para desparasitar.
Sí, sí. Y desmate, para desinflamante de nuestro estómago.
Ah, sí.
Para matar bichitos.
Ah, sí.
Para las lavas,
para los mechos.
con eso se
Con esa
desparasita.
Este se sirve para tomar, podemos hacer también para baño de vapor, baño de coco. Entonces es cura dermatismo.
¿Qué se llama? ¿Se llama? Marco. La hembra.
Blanco, flor blanca.
Pero cantuta igual.
Blanco, eso cantuta.
Esta medicina también es, que es Hanapaco.
Mucha gente no utilizan.
¿Esto?
Ahí tomas harto vos, ¿no?
Sí, harto tomo.
Hanapaco, ¿para qué es?
Ahí eso nomás yo tomo.
Para vesícula.
Para vesícula. Y...
Haces mate de esto.
Kaya este imami protector solar que cuánto sí.
3 clases de uña o 4.
Este es,
William también ahí está.
este es enojo.
¿Enojo?
Oh, sí, cuando uno que las mujeres que no sale leche, entonces es mate hay que tomar, entonces más
Para las
se sale
guaguas.
leche.
Igual para
Ese es naca.
Este es Viagra natural.
A ver.
Se toma toda la noche, carajo, no sé.
Sin dormir,
¿Naca o maca?
naca.
Naca.
Sin dormir
Naca.
puedes amanecer.
Even the national flower of Bolivia, the cantuta, which mirrors the Bolivian flag colors of red, green, and yellow, is an important plant that treats prostate problems and hemorrhages, but can also be abused as a drug.
It's a strong drug too. Sometimes kid likes to eat them because it's sweet inside.
Por ejemplo, que
They make them sleep like
Pero
birds.